Hi, guys. So we're going to go through our new learning target, which is inverses. And I'm going to break this up into two different videos. The first one is going to focus on graphing inverses. Okay. So when you're finding the inverse of a function, you're essentially, and this is why the graphing part is going to come first. It's kind of flipping it. Okay. So I'm going to use my screen here and um, I'm going to I have a graph on my screen. That's the graph for y equals x minus 3 squared minus 4. Okay. And I'm going to type in the line y equals x. And I'm going to make it a dashed line. Okay. So make it purple. All right. So here's my dashed line. So when I'm finding the inverse of something, what I'm actually doing is taking my graph and I'm reflecting it over to this dashed line here, okay? And what you're physically doing is switching the x and the y values, okay? That's how you're finding the inverse of your graph. So you're switching your x's and y's. So what I'm going to do is we are going to create a table, okay? So I have my equation. I have my y equals x minus 3 squared minus 4. And I'm going to create a table of values from this graph. And the values that I'm going to choose are integer values, okay, so whole numbers, positives and negatives, um, that are easy to identify. So the first one I'm going to start with, if you kind of see here, right on my y-intercept, okay, the first point there I'm going to choose is 0, 5. Okay, notice how it puts a point right there. Okay, so I'm looking for points that cross at the intersection of grid points. Okay, so like this right here. And then as I move down here to 1, this point right here. So that's 1, 0. And notice again, it's right on the intersection of those grid lines. Okay, and then I'm going to do 2, um, 2, -3. And then I'm going to keep going down my list. So 3, -4, okay? And then keep going around my graph here, 4, -3. And again, notice how that these points are being placed on these okay, these grid points right here, okay? And I'm going to keep working my way up, and I have 5, 0, okay? And then to complete my next one, I have 6, 5, and that gives me a pretty good picture of the points on my graph. Okay, so again, I'm choosing the ones that go through these nice kind of intersection points. Like this one is not one because it doesn't go right through there. Okay, intersection of grid points. Okay, so that gives me a good view. So now if I'm talking about switching my x's and y's, okay, I'm reflecting it over this. I'm switching my x and y values. So I'm going to create a second table now, and all I'm going to do is take the values from my first graph, my first table, and I'm going to completely flip which one is x and which one is y. So I'm going to start by copying my y value or my x values into the y column. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to go over here to my x's and I'm going to type in what I would have had for my y's. So I'm just taking my first table and I'm completely flip-flopping it. So 5, oops, 5, 0, -3, -4, -3, 0, and 5. So now I've completely flip-flopped my points. And you can see here my green points form the same shape, but now it's flip-flopped. Okay. You can kind of trace and see along your points here. It took my x's and y's and it flip-flopped them. So I took my graph and see how these 2 points are a reflection over that line. Okay. Why did it change? Oh, because it's the same point. This point and this point are a reflection over that line. This point and this point are a reflection over that line. These 2 points are reflections over that line. Okay, so do you see how those are changing? And that's creating these 2 points are reflections over that line. Okay, all my points are complete, all my red points got reflected completely over this purple dash line and it created the green points. And that is how you graph your inverse.